hey, this will be a good self-improvement exercise. I'll watch loads of broadcasts and I'll know what's going on in the world. But all it's done, actually, is depress me because the news is so flippin' horrible.
We believe, from what the police officer was telling us, that he killed his 74-year-old grandmother, also his mother, his uncle, his cousin, his 15-year-old second cousin. In addition, he killed a baby, he killed a sheriff deputy's wife, he killed 2 pedestrians, he killed a petrol station assistant, he killed a motorist, he let loose 7 rounds at a trooper, he shot the chief of police, and he shot himself. We'll let you digest that for a moment.
Which isn't to say the world itself is horrible. I mean, it's still full of sunshine and flowers and cuddly creatures you'd like to have sex with, like this rabbit. Oh, look at that rabbit. Anyway, I guess what I'm saying is there's generally more good than bad in the world, unless you're watching the news, which likes to accentuate the negative at every turn. For instance, a few weeks ago at a homecoming parade for our boys, a small group of 15 to 20 Islamist protesters kicked up a stink by wobbling a load of antagonistic placards around and loudly decrying Western imperialism from behind a line of Western imperialists defending their right to shout about the system that was permitting them to shout, if you see what I mean. Predictably, the protest outraged song well-wishers so much things quickly turned ugly. Before long, 2 people were arrested, one for climbing on top of a supermarket and throwing a packet of bacon at the protesters. So a tiny minority of another minority tried to stir up some outrage, and there's 2 arrests. Not a huge deal. Except the news thought differently, of course. To the news, it was a huge deal. It provided dramatic material for news bulletins, fantastic emotive copy for populist tabloid headlines, and a great starting point for countless hours of confused debate on shows like Banal Morning, Guffstorm, The Right Stuff.
Steve, what's your feelings on this?
Well, I totally think it's bad that they tried to protest and, basically...
And shorter bursts of simplistic yes-no debate on decisive Sky News.
Hello? Yes, I think probably... Hello?
Meanwhile, radical cleric Anjem Choudhury, who heads the group that arranged the protest, was all over cosy GMTV, enjoying the publicity and their comfy sofa.
And the reality is, you see, that if we had this demonstration at another time, when the parade was not taking place, it probably wouldn't have got the coverage that it's got, and I wouldn't be here now talking about it on your programme.
You've certainly got us all going this morning. There's been a lot of dialogue, and dialogue has to be considered a good thing, I guess. Thank you very much.
It's good that you can come and talk to us about it.
Yes, thanks, Anjem. Now, would you like an infidel biscuit? They're lovely. There was also another parade scheduled to take place that day, which the news excitedly cut to. But wouldn't you know it, when the moment of truth came, the Watford March passed off without incident, and the news was left without the story.
Parades. Let's have a listen to see what's going on down around Watford.
No, nobody shouting baby killers. This is boring. Fuck it. Still, while there wasn't even the tiniest protest in Watford, there was a huge protest taking place in Northern Ireland, where thousands of demonstrators were taking to the streets in the name of peace. Yes, that's thousands of protesters coming together to demonstrate against the recent upsurge in Republican violence. So surely if 15 to 20 protesters in Luton gets a lot of coverage, surely thousands of protesters in Northern Ireland is going to get even more, right? Wrong.
Tonight at 10, a mass shooting at a school in Germany leaves 16 people dead.
Yes, because on the same day as the peace demonstration, a lone maniac in Germany went berserk with a gun, killing 16 people. This senseless tragedy provided material for news reports for days to follow. First, there were the initial dramatic breakdowns detailing precisely how the carnage unfolded. There was grim, voyeuristic mobile phone footage of the gunman's last moments, and a chilling reconstruction of a warning he apparently posted on the internet.
He typed these words: "Everybody's laughing at me. No one sees my potential. I'm serious."
Which later turned out to be almost certainly false, incidentally. The aftermath in Vinenden proved so compelling for the vulture-like rolling news stations they even filled airtime showing things that weren't happening yet. 2 days later, even footage from an old ping-pong tournament in which the back of the gunman's head was vaguely visible was still considered news.
The latest pictures of Kretschmer show him playing table tennis, his favourite sport.
And 3 days later, even worse footage, pixelated to the point where it looked like a broadcast from the Lego dimension, well, that was considered news too.
In the video, Kretschmer is shown taking part in an arm wrestling contest in Rottenburg last year.
Yeah, I think if I squint, I can just about make out the face of a killer. Isn't the news brilliant? Repeatedly showing us a killer's face isn't news, it's just rubbernecking. And what's more, this sort of coverage only serves to turn this murdering little twat into a sort of nihilistic pin-up boy.
One thing the news kept plaintively asking was why this had happened.
Why? What had triggered in the mind of a seemingly normal teenager such fury and alienation?
Well, if you want to know why not ask a forensic psychiatrist?
We've had 20 years of mass murders, throughout which I have repeatedly told CNN and our other media, if you don't want to propagate more mass murders, don't start the story with sirens blaring.
The school day had only just begun when the attacker struck.
Don't have photographs of the killer.
The 17-year-old's 3-hour rampage ended in his own death.
Don't make this 24/7 coverage.
The German Chancellor is about to give her reaction. We'll bring that to you live.
Do everything you can not to make the body count the lead story.
Carnage in the classroom, 16 people are dead.
Not to make the killer some kind of anti-hero.
Dressed in black combat gear, the gunman opened fire at random.
Do localize this story to the affected community and make it as boring as possible in every other market. Because every time we have intense saturation coverage of a mass murder, we expect to see 1 or 2 more within a week.
But I mean, hold on a second here.
In summary then, not only does bad news always trump good news, but that bad news might itself actually help create more bad news, which is good news if you're the news.